Okay, welcome to the FLF pod, brought to you by J3VC, where we dive in deep into the strategy stories, mindset shifts that drive long-term wealth creation, personal freedom, and the value of a network. I'm Jason. I'm your host. I'm here with my co-host Jeremy, and today we're having a pretty candid conversation about the bigger picture of investing into real estate and the pathway to wealth creation. We'll share some personal insights, experiences, and lessons learned on our journey, and explore some of the, why smart long-term decisions are the cornerstone of, you know, gaining financial freedom and investing in real estate. So, let's get started. Jeremy, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent, Jason. As you know, we just come out of a meeting with a marketeer, and prospects are looking bright. Currently, I've been looking around the market today for some possible investment opportunities, and it is looking incredible. To be honest, it hasn't looked this good for a couple of years.
Yeah, so why is it suddenly, or why is it this point, it suddenly looking so good?
There is at the moment in the areas that I'm looking at, there is an abundance of properties that suit the requirements I'm looking for. Long story short, there are more properties available than buyers at the moment.
Yeah, so that's quite a good it's quite a good situation to be in. Do you expect it to continue like this, or you think it's somewhat situational or just contextual for this time?
It's very, very situational, and it changes month to month. Honestly, like it just goes up and down, up and down. For one example, I had a look this morning, and it took me 10 minutes to find five properties that I thought they actually look really good and should have a look and do some further due diligence and look at purchasing them. Like
Yeah,
five.
awesome. Yeah, that's really good. So I think we'll get into that in more detail first. I was thinking for our listeners, for our guests, like for people who are watching, maybe we'd start a little bit with our respective backgrounds, how we got started, and how we're involved as investors in real estate and developers, how we got started in that, and in that wealth building entrepreneurial journey, because I think that will give people a lot of context and background for the stories and the experiences that we have, and what we're currently pursuing. So maybe if we want to start with us, we go all the way back to little Jeremy, and give us some background, at least from your perspective.
Yeah. Is this how I got into property, basically, or investing and
Yeah, I think property investing, wealth creation, like it's not necessarily
yeah.
every little kid's dream, right? So
Oh no, it's super
you,
boring.
you
Like,
must have gotten here somehow.
yeah, I think the path to it is me realizing that for since humans have existed, the wealthiest people in the world have always dealt with property, had, maintained, sold, held property under some for some way, some reason, and basically forever. From the research I've done back in history, it just goes back till the beginning of time. And so early on, I realized if I want to have what they have, I need to do what they do, and then that led me down the path I've been walking for the past 20 years, which includes buying and selling my own real estate, buying and selling real estate professionally for other people, for professional investors, and also homeowners, and also a little bit more than a decade into construction industry. And then that sort of peaked at at the property development where we're at now, when I realized that the people that make pretty much all the money in property are the developers, because what they're doing is they're creating the property at wholesale. So they're creating the property at cost.
Yes, taking on risk, creating value, and then the market is rewarding in a commensurate way is exactly what's
Yeah.
happening.
So instead of buying and holding, what our strategy is, we're purchasing something, manufacturing value right after we've purchased it. So we're getting, if the market goes up, we get that, plus we get whatever value that we've got from the manufacturing process of it, whether it's a building or subdivision or whatever is going to make the property worth more.
Yep, yep, exactly. Yep. So is that something that you like discovered explicitly and had a sense of early on because of, strong financial literacy, or was it, experiencing it over time through mentors or just seeing the natural market forces at work? Like,
Mm.
how did you come to these conclusions?
These conclusions will come through just me going through multiple iterations of moving towards wealth. So it was just figuring something out, finding something like what I was saying previously about realizing that pretty much all the wealthy people ever have something to do with property, and then just starting to pull on that thread, and then just following it, and just keep pulling on that thread until I came to the logical conclusion that developers are the ones that are really doing well through property. And I figured that out when I was buying and selling real estate, because previously I thought real estate agents were making all the money because I was renovating houses and buying and selling houses and a part of that with and for other people. And I'm like, these agents, they just turn up, they make 30, 40 grand. It takes them, several hours. And I'm here, slaving away, working 2 weeks straight, 16 hours a day with no sleep to renovate this property. And they've made half what I've made in 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then so I become an agent.
Yeah.
So then I, so then after becoming an agent, I was doing that thing, and that is good, and it can be rewarding. Then there was also these guys strolling in, like stereotypical, exactly what you'd expect. Guy walking in, hairy chest, board shorts, t-shirt with holes in it, with a brand new car, and buying properties off me for cash.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was 1.5, $2 million. And then just the nonchalantness of it as well. And they were legitimate too. He's saying, I used to do bigger stuff, but now I just want to take it easy. So I'm just looking for smaller sites. I've got, I think I've got about 6 or 8 million to deploy. If you've got anything available that a developer might be interested in, and we'd go through the list, and he's just speaking like this. And I'd take him out, and he's like, yeah, okay, can we go out to site? Yeah, okay. And then take them out to site. And he goes, oh, we'll go in my car, jump in his car. Reasonably nice person, go out, have a look at some things. And then he has a look, he goes, oh, hang on a sec, I've got to make a phone call. Just makes a phone call. I'm just going to talk to some guys about the services in the area. And to be honest, I don't even really know what's happening at the time. And then he just goes, how much they want? Oh, 1.5. Yeah, right. I'll send you the money. Then, basically by the time we got back to the office, I got the 10% deposit in the trust account, and he signed it. And he's like, all right, I'll come back. I'll come back tomorrow, just like totally calm. And I was just blown away at that, and just watching that and learning as much as I could from that experience. Then I started realizing that, wow, the real money in properties through development, and also specifically through teamwork to get the development done.
Yeah.
Because he had a team. He rocked up. He just made a couple of phone calls to people he trusted, and just boom, dropped.
Yeah.
That happened a couple times. Similar things. I was just sort of amalgamating stories, but just dropping millions of dollars on the day, because he just rings his team and goes, "Here's the address. Tell me where the services are. Blah blah blah. What are the minimum site frontages? All this sort of stuff." And he goes, "Okay, like cool." Goes back, check, done.
Yeah. So I'm sure, I'm sure a lot of people have those experiences, but you've gone from observing those experiences to then creating those experiences for yourself, by being an entrepreneur. Like, how have you gone about doing that? Because a lot of people have that experience and they just think, well, I just had that experience and it was eye opening, but it doesn't manifest or, you know, roll into, you know, making a change or seeing how you could then replicate the experience that you've had. Most people just stay in their position.
Mm.
So, what was it within you that allowed you to kind of make that leap?
I can simply put it in that I know if someone else can do it, and also having a look at the person, if someone else with their background can get it done, I could get it done too. Excuse me, if I wanted it as much as they did when they got started. It's just realizing that. And I think pretty much everyone's the same.
Yeah.
Every person, and then realizing however long you think it's going to take, it'll take longer.
Yeah.
However difficult you think it's going to be more difficult. And however much learning you think you're going to need, you don't know what you don't know. And then there's the you know unconscious incompetence where you're all full of viv and vigor, and then you realize you get to a certain point. You get a couple of years or a year down the track, and then you realize, oh my god, I know nothing.
Yeah.
You realize just enough to realize how much you don't know,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
and that's when the drive and the why kicks in. Is when you hit that plateau.
Yeah. So having a strong why, but seeing that it's possible, kind of creates that. Yeah, I probably had something similar, except for me, I think merged the the academic side along with the practical experiences side. So I'd bought and sold real estate in the United States, and um, you know, dropped out of college, but yet ended up getting an MBA, and um, hated school, but was always reading books. So I was reading
Mm.
like a book a week, and I remember very distinctly as well. Reading about how developing real estate was at the top of the kind of pyramid, as it were, in terms of creating value and using leverage, and obviously there's taking on risk in order to do that. Um, so that would be for me on the real estate investing side, but I would say on the wealth building side, I always remembered thinking that a traditional job wouldn't allow me wouldn't allow me to achieve the big dreams that I had, because I couldn't fathom. I was like, okay, if I make maybe 100K a year, how am I gonna like achieve those big dreams, the big Home Alone mansion, the you know, the Lambo, or whatever it is, the Gucci loafers. I don't know,
Yep.
but like, and I think for me, like when you know, wealth is obviously important, but for me, it's important because it's the it's really just a pathway to freedom, and freedom
Mm.
is one of my core values. So I always wanted to, even as a young kid, I loved being free. I loved to play. I loved being free. And now that I'm an adult who's older, I'm like, yeah, I still like to have fun and be free. But you have bills to pay. So
Yeah.
how do you, okay, you need money. Okay, you need a bit more money. Okay, you need some wealth. And then it's linked to freedom. And then I started like examining, similar to you on the curiosity side. Okay, what are the, legitimate vehicles or engines towards wealth, because wealth is a pathway to freedom. And so I've had the experience of doing that in the United States, in Bali, in Indonesia, in different contexts, and also now in Australia. So I've had some great experience like in different global markets, and super interesting, like tying it all together, and then you know having those experiences and just taking those next steps up and up and up, and learning, educating, being educated to be skilled enough to skill stack as I make progress like on those next steps. Um, so I wanted to touch on as well, like I know that like you're involved in like different ways of creating and preserving wealth. So
Mm.
with your business and different investments and growth, but obviously you're passionate about real estate, and real estate in Australia. So maybe talk a little bit about why is that the case? Like you mentioned that obviously we know from history, and we know from just observing people who are high net worth individuals, ultra high net worth individuals. Oftentimes, a huge part of the portfolio is investing into real estate. There's different vehicles even within that with real estate trusts, and investing with individual developers, partnering as lenders. Different options available to you. So, talk to us a little bit about how you see real estate as just such a key component of your personal wealth building, and why it's important, like for for other people who are looking to build that wealth and have that freedom.
Well, for me personally, the reason I'm all in property at the moment, it was an ethical concern. So I didn't want to go out there and start dealing with clients and investors unless I had skin in the game. And I thought I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, because at the time before I started my business, I was actually making some money trading, trading crypto. I made some money. Yeah, I can say this. I've been banned by every single bookkeeper in Australia from using any of the bookkeeping platforms, because I was taking a bunch of their money and they didn't like me.
Okay.
That's maybe a story for another day. But yeah, at the time I was making some money trading. And then when I started going into the space of using other people's money to conduct property developments, I thought I'll just go all in myself, just as an ethical thing and also a show of good faith, to show that I'm not selling something that I don't believe in so wholeheartedly. I've dropped something over this side, which I also think is a great idea, and I'm making money doing that. I've dropped that and put pretty much all of my money into the property development space for that reason, just the ethical concerns.
Yeah, yeah. So you put your money where your mouth is, so to
Yeah,
speak.
I did, and I did that before I asked other people for their money,
Yeah.
because it's just how I want to do business. My goal is to do business with people for 30 years. If I meet someone, do the vetting and have a chat and describe what they want, what I want, what our expectations are, how we can move forward, and then just move forward from there and do business with them forever.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, the same topic, and why did you end up doing what you
Yeah.
did?
Yeah, I think obviously to build wealth, you need leverage, and you need and that can come like in various forms. Like some people in the content game, producing and gaining leverage that way. Other people are investing their money or in their skill, building a business, and I see real estate as a very viable, very robust product when put together, and something that services and helps the community. So people always need like a place to live, and having quality dwellings is super important. And so making money, providing value, and improving like the community, to me is like really important. And on a personal note as well, like I have a very strong passion for architecture, interior design. Like I'm quite strong in those areas. I've worked closely with interior designers and architects in building before, and I like the element of building something that brings beauty, and aesthetics to the natural environment. And when you talk about like how people live and grow up, woven into that story is the home they grew up in, or
Mhm.
you know um, the impact of a dwelling in forming relationships and how people gather together. I think those are all like really important components. So for me, it's not purely a profit making capitalistic endeavor. It's about um, you know bringing together, creating viable community that allows people to flourish. Like I think that's actually the meta goal at the end of the day, is to leave a legacy, and have people be able to flourish while they're on the earth. So if you're developing, creating valuable products via real estate that people can enjoy and experience, then to me you can make the world a bit better. Now that's why when I see terrible purely cookie cutter, no respect for the environment, dwellings, it causes me a little bit of pain on the inside. But on the flip side, when I see beautiful, well developed products, I feel genuinely inspired, and I've had that with my friends who are, building, great great products, great real estate. So yeah, for me, it's a merging of the two. Can I get two birds out of one stone? Is probably it.
Yeah. I think you absolutely can. And property development is one of the games where, if done correctly, every single party involved wins. The producer, the builder, the end user, everyone wins at the end. So the builder makes money, the local economy makes money because, for one development, if you had to count, you're employing hundreds of people to conduct one development. And then at the end of the day, you're providing a family with a place to grow up and raise their kids. It's just everyone wins. And also, the more development that happens is going to bring the cost of housing down.
Yes, yes, yeah. I think it's when it's balanced and tied into value creation, like that to me is like when you really hit the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So I'm in full agreement there. So I guess like this is kind of going back to basics a little bit, but not every person has the dream of building wealth. Some people see it as like an impossible goal, or don't know where to get started. Some people find it easy. They've got like that natural skill set, maybe in financial literacy and management. And other people, are coming up out of different circumstances. So maybe they're starting at a, bigger disadvantage. So I thought maybe we discuss briefly like why wealth creation is important. And we've touched on like, personal freedom, ability to leave a legacy, building a secure future, like if you're a parent. So why would you say that, wealth creation is important? Why not just like make a little bit that you can just cover your costs in life? Like why try and actually go the next step to create wealth? Like what would be your take on that?
I think that's the $1 million question. And the question is, you have to understand your why. If you don't know why, then there is no point of trying to create wealth. What is the point of creating wealth? Like if everyone could do it, everyone could. And then if everyone did it, it wouldn't be a special thing, and it wouldn't even be considered wealth
Yeah.
at that point. So I think the why for everyone is different. Understanding that is crucial to moving forward in your journey and your goals. And that matters more than anything per se in regards to what you're doing. I think when you start, I read a book, this is years ago, Simon Sinek wrote it, I think, Start With Why.
Yes.
You need to start with that, because if you start without that, you'll never get to where you're going, because as soon as it starts getting difficult and you don't have a really driving force behind you, people will just stop.
Yes, yes. So I think also what's great about what you're saying there is like we do explore that why with people that we work with or like who invest with us, and then we kind of work together with that why to make that why into reality. So, what would be the blueprint, to make that, a reality? Maybe talk a little bit about like how those two blend together. Because there's one thing to have a why, and then there's also to have the how and the what. So if investing into real estate or partnering with a developer like us is like part of that how and what, like how do you see, or how would you describe, that how and that what? Like let's say the why is pretty clear. Maybe it's, you want to have enough wealth to look after your kids and have a big family home and to play in, and obviously all of that like costs money. So the why is clear. Like flesh out a little bit the how and the what as you see it in this realm.
The how and the what can be daunting in the beginning when you're first getting started off, because there's a lot of stuff out there, but it can also be quite simple. I think the how is you find some people that you like, know, and trust to help you along that journey to reach the why. And whether that is you deciding to do it yourself, you need to understand that if you're doing it for the first time by yourself, even with help from someone else in regards to you're doing it yourself with a little bit of mentoring for a couple of hours, a week or a month or whatever it is, you're still probably going to make mistakes. And they're going to cost you time and money. So then tie that into your why and have a good think about that. And then with the how, the other alternative is to find some people you like, know, and trust in regards to where they can do it for you. And that's another option. I think the option of doing it by yourself without help is just going to lead you straight into disaster. I think, why would anyone want to do that when there's so much competent help out there and great people out there to help you? I think you get the why, and then you figure out the how. Find someone that's done it before, and then figure out on what level are you going to be doing the work, or are you going to get someone else to do the work? Like, for example, what we offer is anywhere from, basically join the team, jump in with us. If you want, you can go to sleep for a year to 18 months, then wake up and there's a bunch of money in your account. You can do that if you want, or we can walk you through it. So use the why to then figure out the how, and then once you've figured out the how, then the what comes last. What is it? What are you actually doing? And then that's sort of the final step. I think once you've got the first two lined up ready to go, you get to the last one and you just tick a box. It's a signature, and you're on your way.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's close, far away, in regards to that sort of structure of figuring it out from
Yeah.
why all the way to what?
Yeah, I think what you're describing is common sense, but as you know, like common sense is not that common. And I think part of the reason why is um, common sense often means that you're just looking at something purely like logically and dispassionately. And I think with money, and there's a lot of emotions and a lot of, yeah, just a lot of emotions around that. And that means that sometimes it's difficult to think clearly. We know that just statistically, people are very influenced by the home they grew up in, the way that money was talked about, like in their family home, whether they had money growing up or they didn't, how much financial literacy they have. So I think what you're describing is perfect common sense. But a lot of people also have, I don't know, shame or guilt or embarrassment about money, or fear around losing it, or like, all sorts of stuff. So I think what you're describing is a very robust, simple approach that involves common sense. That if you were, let's say, if you were trying to advise yourself and you weren't emotionally, compromised, about the topic, that's probably the advice you would give to yourself. You would go, okay, I would like to invest a lot to grow my money. I should find someone who has a good track record that I like, know, and trust, and I can learn and grow in the process, or I can be a bit passive, and there's some predictability, and ultimately do it with people who can help me, versus the absolute disaster mode is let me do everything myself. I will say, the first real estate play I made, I bought a place and renovated it, and I did it all myself, and it was extremely stressful.
Yeah, I was going to say, how'd that go for you?
It
Even
was,
if it was a full win condition, those stories normally end up in like,
yeah, it was extremely stressful. Fortunately, I had an amazing research assistant, aka Google, and YouTube. But I lost a lot of time, energy, sleepless nights, you know, um, variables that I couldn't foresee, things that a simple, someone who'd done it before, you know, would have seen those issues a mile away. And, so I would say, if you want to learn the game, then there's better ways to learn the game. But if you want to make money, then, you know, use common sense, you know.
I think you're speaking a truth there, that you've just brought up an excellent point. If you want to learn the game, is different to if you want to make money.
If you want to learn the game, I would say come and work with us, intern with us, work with us. You can make mistakes, minor mistakes, But if you want to make money, it's a different story. Partner with us, but you know that's how I would frame it because I think people a lot of times they want to make money and they end up just learning from mistakes, and
Yeah. So
you want to.
effectively, they've just paid for lessons that they've learned.
Yes, exactly, and you know that's not what we want to achieve. So
Well, it might be. I think when you go back to the how, is the how you want to learn, or is the how that you're going to partner with someone else that's done it before?
yeah, we'll say
Yeah.
if your objective is to learn, that's why you know I know with how we operate, you know you can be completely passive and receive your investor updates, you know, but there can be a different approach where you know essentially we can almost like teach you or like you know keep you keep the comms high like you know throughout the process and you will learn a lot without as high of a risk because you know essentially we're taking the risk and you know and using our expertise our network our you know our team is very strong as you know and highly competent and so to me that's the best way to learn it's like get beside get next to get proximity to people who you know have demonstrated competence they made the mistakes and so you don't have to because you know you get to learn firsthand that's a smart way of learning so that's how I do it in every realm of my life in any area of my life where I want to learn I think I find someone who's you know personable good at teaching and you know has made mistakes and learned from them and because I want to save myself time you know
Yeah.
I value my it's not just about valuing money it's about valuing time you know and the way I look at it it's about valuing time as a you know the single precious greatest and most precious commodity that you know is always running out and leveraging money and you know time is the fire in which we all burn
Mm.
so it's not you're not getting more time you're getting less
Yeah.
time it becomes more
And
precious.
I think that's very important for people to understand that action or inaction is irrelevant because in regards to even if you're in a state of inaction, that's still a choice, and that's still from a trading sense, like from my background, having money in cash, that's a choice, and that's still a trade, rather than having money in something else. All that is you just think that something else is going to go down while cash remains the same, or the cash is going to go up. Maybe it's still a trade. So inaction and not doing things, I think, in regards to time, people really need to understand that that's a choice and time's not stopping for anyone.
Yes, and not only is time not stopping, but inflation's not stopping
Yeah.
either. Like the value of money is decreasing in you know the U.S. dollar post you know decoupling from gold since the 70s has devalued the dollar, the oversupply of money, and then you've got you know the rising costs of goods and services, including real estate, inflation in every market. Um, I know you know the politicians in the U.S. say that inflation's only 3%, but I would say it's you know more so around like 20 to 25%. I still remember paying $9 for my latte last year,
Yeah.
so you know inflation is definitely very real. So I agree with you. Like not taking action and not taking decisive action is a choice.
Mm.
And it's one where you lose out simply because of you know whether you're swimming or not the waves are still crashing so you might as well you know get swimming
I, I,
so that, yeah go ahead.
I think with the inflation one, they keep changing how they measure it. And I
Mm.
think the best way to look at it was how much was your cost for rent or the cost to purchase a house specifically. So
Mm.
go back 10 years. You can go back on realestate.com domain, have a look 10 years ago and have a look what houses where you're looking at now were selling for 10 years ago. And
Mm.
then also think about how much was fuel 10 years ago and how much was energy to put into your house 10 years ago. And then ignore basically everything else because they're going to be your biggest cost, as in the other stuff that people are talking about. Go back 10 years, and then for anyone that wants to do the back of the envelope math and figure this out, how much was a house in your area 10 years ago? How much was electricity and how much was fuel? And then how much were you personally earning 10 years ago? And then do the same thing today. How much is a house where you live? How much is fuel and how much is electricity? And has your income gone up to match the difference of the stuff that you're buying to live, to raise your family in? And then if you have a look at that, people will then realize what's really happened, instead of, all these people telling them that inflation's like 2%, 3%. Just do that over 10 years and then have a look. And then that's the inflation.
Yes. Yes. I think that's exactly right. And yeah, it's maybe not felt every few years, but if you look back at 5-year, 10-year like period, it's very clear. I think people feel the pain of it on a socioeconomic, like community, relationship, level as well. It's not just financial impact. The financial impact impacts your relationships, your family, the dynamics, the choices you can make. One thing I wanted to highlight was, because investing in real estate, I think, creates wealth over time, like through cash flow and appreciation. And, it's quite a big contrast to like quick wins, speculative investing, like trading, crypto, high, low lows, very, very volatile. Real estate's more consistent. I wanted to get your thoughts on kind of the other unique advantages of real estate, like comparative to those like other investments. So, we obviously understand that real estate's, it's a physical income producing asset that's a little bit more robust and obviously grows with inflation. And allows for a bit more control, like than other investments, through leverage,
Yep.
improvements, value add strategies to the real estate itself. Where do you see like the other unique advantages of real estate?
I think I'll speak specifically about Australia.
Yeah.
I think the advantages are ridiculous and the opportunity is amazing. So at the moment, we're in the deep of it. We see the development. The only way to lower the cost of housing is to build more houses than people that want houses. That's how you have to lower the price. And at the moment, what the government's doing, and irregardless of what their intentions are, currently the policies and what's happening and what I can possibly foresee for the next 5 or 10 years is there's going to be more people born and come into Australia than houses created. So what's going to happen over the time is, not only is the cost of building going to go up and the price of everything's going to go up, also, let's say you've got this many houses and this many people, over time, this is going to go like that. There's going to be less houses and more people at the same time that property prices and building prices are going up. So that is just absolutely incredible. And what's tied to the price of the house is also the rent. So the real beauty of it is over time, specifically in the wealth building game. So if you buy a house 10 years ago, and I'll just use nice round numbers, let's say the house purchase price is $500,000 and you put a $100,000 deposit down. Let's say you just pay interest only. In 10 years' time, if that house has doubled in price, you put $100,000 down and made repayments for 10 years, and you've just made yourself a $500,000 capital gain from $100,000. So the return is the serviceability, the money you've put in for your loan, plus that 100,000. What is your return on the 100,000 over a 10-year period? That's huge. That's probably a 4 or 5 times return on your money that you've put in, and that's not even putting in rent. That's if you're living in the house. So, and I think that's going to get worse or better depending which aspect you're looking at it. If you're on the side of taking action, not inaction, I think these people are greatly going to benefit from this, and these people are going to be the ones that have become wealthy and have great future prospects. Are people that understand this and capitalize on this and can see this coming.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It's like, use it's from a big picture standpoint is use what's happening and use the conditions to your advantage. And that's what you're doing, like by investing into real estate in a smart, strategic way. Like use the forces to your advantage, rather than being set upon by the forces. And I think, sometimes it's just a perspective shift and a mindset shift that there is a way to take advantage of the market forces in a way. And it's just imposing, your goal and your plan and your will and your strategy upon the opportunity like that's available. So yeah, I think that's a great point because yeah, certainly I think in the last 10 years, like my parents' house, like it's like doubled in in market value, which is crazy. Um,
Yeah, exactly that. I think the market forces are like waves, and you're a participant in it. You didn't choose it. There's nothing you can do. I don't know, unless you move, sell everything and move to Thailand and live off a beach as a beggar. You're an unwilling participant in this market, in this wave pool, and doing nothing is a choice. And the waves are going to push you around, and you'll just end up where you end up. Or you can be a willing participant and start swimming. So what I think that looks like is moving in the dark and figuring something out how to do it by yourself. You'll be swimming against the waves alone.
mm,
If you do it with someone else, you'll be swimming with a wave
yeah,
because they're guiding you at least on where to look and where to go. So that's the difference, and that's the reality of it. You can get to where you're going swimming against the waves, but oh my gosh, is that going to suck?
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
not. Why would you? It's not necessary. It's just not the clever way to do it.
yeah. Don't drown and get on Bondi Rescue. Um, yeah, I think that's an excellent point. Like, sometimes it's just about thinking differently about your situation or thinking, again, non-emotionally and seeing opportunity instead of just disaster. Because if you were only looking at the market, you'd be thinking, well, it's getting harder and harder and harder, which is true. So it just means playing a different game. Um, yeah. So I guess like, to kind of close it or like wrap it up a little, we want to kind of discuss some of this stuff because I think it's what is sometimes, important, but not necessarily urgent. Thinking about bills is urgent. Thinking about your wealth creation journey to be able to easily pay your bills is sometimes important, but not urgent. And, we
Great
don't
point.
necessarily like get to thinking about that or like talking about that. So for those of you who are watching or like listening, we wanted to like highlight some of this stuff because we're so excited about it, but we also wanted you to be able to think critically about your wealth building journey and to explore all your options. And we obviously want you to consider investing in real estate as part of that exploration. And we're available, and we love to work with people who are on an exciting journey that we can be a part of, and vice versa. So if you want to find out more, I would say subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like. And you can find us on all social media platforms. You can find us on our website j3vc.com. Jeremy, James, and I are all available. Love to engage with you directly for deeper insights. If you have other guests that you'd like us to speak to, we have that as well. And so we're super excited to keep exploring what we feel are like important but not necessarily urgent topics, and they make a huge impact. So that's it for today's episode of the FLF pod, brought to you by J3VC. So we hope you gained some valuable insights into the importance of thinking long term, making smart investment decisions. So like with anything, we want to remind you that wealth building, it's a marathon, like it's not a sprint. So the key is like staying intentional, strategic. So yeah, if you enjoyed the conversation, like please keep joining us, be part of the community, share it with someone who's on maybe a similar journey with you. to financial freedom and create some camaraderie together with you. And we'll be back next time, so with more thoughts, stories to help you navigate your path to that as well. So until then, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.